Welcome to the Ambition to Grow podcast, a space for women of color to be empowered and encouraged with authentic, transparent conversations. This podcast is for all the women striving to be the best version of themselves while growing and healing. I'm your host, Bree Ward, and my goal is to help bring you a little closer to peace and your ultimate power. Welcome to Ambition to Grow. Hello, and welcome back to the Ambition to Grow podcast. Welcome to episode 8. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that this podcast episode finds you well, and if it doesn't, then just know that it's going to get better. Here we are talking about growing, healing, and evolving, becoming better people, and just the growth and ambition and challenge that it takes to really try to be a better person. So I'm happy that you're here just on this journey with me, and yeah, we're having some real conversation today about expectation versus reality and adjusting our expectations to match reality, which is not always super easy to do, but it is definitely something that I think is very, very necessary. So I'm just going to jump right in talking about my past weekend. This weekend has been really good. I've got to spend a lot of time with, let me back up. I'm actually coming off of a week of rest. So at my new job, it's such an amazing environment that really prioritizes mental health, mental wellness, well-being, taking care of yourself. Our work can be very challenging at times, and so the environment is very apparent of that. And so I've never experienced this before, where my whole company is closed. It's like, don't answer emails, don't do anything. I did still do a little bit of work just because I wanted to be able to set myself up for success for this coming up week. But nothing like, strenuous. And I was able to truly rest, like really just lay down, watch movies, take a nap, not feel like I needed to be tying my worthiness to productivity, which is a challenge for me and something that I'm realizing is really hard for me to do. It's hard for me to rest, to just sit down and just be, just not have to feel like I need to be doing anything specific, but just being. And that's something that has been not always easy, and it's still something I struggle with, but this past week I was able to do that, and I was able to spend time with my husband and my baby, and we were able to go and do different activities and fun things, and so that has been something that was super, super fun and enjoyable. Not necessarily fun, but just necessary. It was necessary to be able to take that break. And I feel like every job should give everyone like a week of rest, or at least an extra couple days or something, because it's so needed. And saying like, don't use this time to just do more things. Use this time to rest. Prioritize it. It's so important. And we rest just to rest, not to rest and then do more. So yeah, that was something that was really good. This past weekend, I had a really good time visiting with family. Bud Crawford had his celebration parade in Omaha, and I went with my mom and sister and my son, and I also got to see my sister-in-law and my niece and her boyfriend and his daughter, and that was really fun. We were able to have like a whole little family reunion at the parade, and we got to see Bud. We got to see so many people show up. It was such a great event. I loved it. I loved seeing everyone, every person of every color, every background, just showing up in authentic, wholehearted support. There was no drama, there was no craziness, there was no shooting, there was nothing like that, which is sometimes not always the case, but I was glad to see that everything worked out and was just really beautiful. I enjoyed doing that. I was able to attend a work event and meet some really awesome people there. I am just recently coming from like a little lunch thing with some of my husband's side of the family. So this has been a very, very good week and weekend, and I've enjoyed it. And so I'm here, and I just wanted to talk. One more thing. I played this show for my son that was a huge part of my childhood that I literally forgot about until I saw it pop up on HBO Max. And it's called Mother Goose, a Rappin' and Rhymin' Special. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's so good. It's a star-studded, like, cast. It's a cartoon about, like, the Mother Goose tales, or not the Mother Goose, what are those? Nursery rhyme tales. Like, all of them are featured in there, and a lot of it is very Black-centric and hip-hop and singing, and Whoopi Goldberg is the main voice, and there's a lot of other recognizable voices in there, and I loved it. My son loved it. It had a lot of really cute songs, and it also had a really good message. The message is pretty much like Mother Goose is the person who, you know, keeps everything together for people. She makes sure that everybody's nursery rhymes work out. And everybody was coming to her complaining, like Jack and Jill was like, we tired of falling up and down the hill. We got medical bills. And she's like, dang, okay. And then the guy with the cow who jumps over the moon, he's like, my cow be going up too high, and then her milk be freezing. And so, like, literally everybody's coming to her complaining. So she's like, all right, I got something for y'all. And she turns it all off. And all of the stuff that everybody wanted is no longer there. All of the stuff everybody complained about is no longer there. And then everybody's like, wait a minute, no, this isn't right. I actually really did need my cow to jump over the moon. And we really did need to fall down the hill. And I really did need my little Bo Peep needed her sheep with her all day. They actually needed that. And the things that they was complaining about, they actually needed to have the world still be in order. And I was like, dang, that's a really good message of appreciation, because it's like what I was talking about last week, being grateful. We will be complaining about the blessings, and we will be like wanting something to be gone, and then when it's gone, we're like, oh, okay, God, I see that I actually did need that. And so yeah, I thought that was a really good message. So I wanted to put that on there, or just put that in my little intro and let y'all know that was something else that was really good and I wanted to mention. And I'm still recovering from vacation. Vacation was already like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weekends ago. And I'm still recovering it from that. And so that kind of leads me into the topic for the day, which is adjusting our expectations and really just looking at our expectation for things in our life versus the reality of those same things. Sometimes the expectation and reality can be the same, and a lot of times we base our expectations off of things that we want and desire, but also things that we have experienced in the past. It can be based off of our childhood. It could be based off of past relationships, past work experience, schooling, different things that we've been through and experienced in our life. Contributes to the way that we see reality and what our true reality is. Have y'all ever been around somebody who's just super negative all the time, and like that's all they do is complain and talk about things that are bad going on in their life? And it may not be that they necessarily want to live in that state of negativity, but that is their reality, is a negative environment. And I feel like a lot of our reality is a negative environment, but you have to actively fight against it. And that is something that I have done from a very early age, is I'm trying to actively fight against this negativity and be better. Because if you sulk in the negativity, that is what you will become. There's power in the tongue, and if all you talk about is negative things, then that's what you are going to attract in your life. And so, so when I was talking to my therapist, in therapy, I've been working on getting more of a routine in order for my night times and my mornings, because I often feel a lot of chaos, and my evenings don't really have a consistent routine, to the point where sometimes we'll be eating dinner super late. Sometimes my son will, go to bed later than we would like. We were getting on a really good, we were making really good progress before we went on vacation, where it was okay, we're getting him to bed at a consistent time. We are eating dinner at a good time. We are, making sure that we're cooking at home, doing all of these things. And we were doing that very well. We went on vacation, and then it's now thrown off, and things are going to take time getting back onto that consistent schedule. So prior to even going to my vacation, my therapist prepared me for that. And she was like, hey, yeah, you guys are doing some really good progress. And when you go on this vacation, it's all going to get thrown off and it's going to take some time for you to get back on that. And, her saying that, I'm kind of like, oh, yeah, you're right. We've been making some really good progress, but now, things are going to be thrown off when we get back. And that's not necessarily something that we want to hear or that we want to acknowledge. We just want to we have the expectation or I'm going to say myself, I have the expectation of we're going to get back and we're going to jump right back in the schedule. Jet's going to go to bed at this time. We're going to try to cook dinner at this time. And the reality is it's probably going to take a good few weeks to a month before we can establish our consistent routine again. But yeah, I feel like that is something that is very often overlooked or not even recognized, is that we have these expectations that do not match our reality. And although we have these high expectations, we still have to be realistic with ourselves and with other people in our life. And that was just like the biggest light bulb moment for me, because I was like, dang, I don't think that my expectation often matches my reality. And then I become frustrated and mad at people around me. And then I have an attitude. And then I'm like, why can't you just, And it's like, that is my expectation. That is not true reality. And so that has been something that I have been actively practicing in my life, is just thinking about what is my expectation in this area and what is the real true reality? Because I also saw something on Instagram, I believe, and it was, who was it? I think it might have been Alicia Keys. And she was talking about how sometimes we have these expectations for people and they can't even, they cannot uphold the expectation for us, because we are expecting something from them that they are literally not capable of doing. They're not capable of loving us the way that we need to be loved. They're not capable of talking to us the way that we need to be talked to. They're not capable of putting in the work to address themselves and their mental health and their own unaddressed traumas and things that they have dealt with that they've just suppressed. They're not willing to do those things. And so when we're like, why can't you just talk to me? Why can't you just do this? Why can't you just do that? That's not the expectation. Or that is our expectation, but that's not the reality. So a lot of times we get caught up in what we have as an expectation for someone, and we think that somebody else should be able to do that. And that is not to say that you don't deserve those things. You very well can deserve those things, and rightfully so. You deserve to be loved, talked to the way that you need to receive love. You deserve all of the things that you need to be a whole person. But a lot of the times, the people in our life cannot provide those things. And it just comes down to adjusting our expectations. And feelings are not always fact. That is something that I've heard Megan Ashley say from the Know For Sure podcast. Feelings are not always fact. A lot of times we have feelings that are very big and they are valid. It is acceptable to feel the way that you feel, but it's not always a fact. Just because you feel disrespect doesn't mean that somebody was trying to disrespect you. You get it? I don't feel like I want to keep going there because I feel like it's pretty, you guys get what I'm laying down, hopefully. So yeah, I feel like something that I have been trying to actively do is adjusting those expectations to match reality and realizing that this is something that I do in a lot of areas in my life and that I do with a lot of relationships in my life. So yeah, I'm just trying to operate more in reality and also set myself up for success and be realistic. So going back to the dinner example. So these past couple weeks have been a struggle after we've come back from vacation, just because, before we went on vacation, we're like, we don't want to buy any new groceries because, we don't want food just sitting in our refrigerator for like almost a week. So we didn't. And so when we came back, of course, we don't have any food. And of course, we don't want to really go grocery shopping coming just right off of vacation. So we've been kind of going to the store here and there, doing little, meals. We actually haven't ordered pizza or like really went out to eat as much as we normally would, which I'm very proud about that. But yeah, we've just been kind of like, oh gosh, it's mealtime again. What are we going to eat? What's Jet going to eat? Because Jet also is very freaking picky. So he can't always eat what we are trying to eat. And so I'm so proud of us because yesterday, on our Saturday night, we took our baby with us, we made a list, we made a meal plan, and we planned out some meals for the week, like what are some things we can have for lunch, breakfast, dinner, what are some things that Jet will eat, and we went to the store, and of course, we never can go to one store and get all the things that we need, so we had to go to Trader Joe's and Walmart, and how groceries are these days, spent a decent amount of money for not a bunch of food, just a decent amount of food for some meals for this week. But we set ourselves up for success. And so now my expectation is we got food to eat. And at the end of the day, even if I don't feel like cooking, we got food to eat in there. I could make us a quick little taco or a sandwich or cook something that, look at the list of meals that I know that we have food for and be like, okay, I'm going to make this. And I also am going to give myself grace because there's probably going to be some time this week that we get some pizza or that we go out to eat because sometimes I just don't feel like cooking. Sometimes we are just like, oh, let's just do that because why not? That is okay. And so I think having the expectation of being like, we're setting ourselves up for success. But the reality is we aren't going to be perfect in this, and sometimes I might not feel like cooking, and sometimes the kitchen might be dirty all night, and I'll have to clean it the next day, or Lorenzo will clean it when he wakes up, whatever. Sometimes that is just the reality of what it is, and we be so pressed to be trying to have everything perfect that you're literally pissing yourself off for no reason. It's like you walking around here mad because your expectations ain't matching reality, and it's like, sis, adjust your expectations. People ain't gonna change. This world ain't gonna change. What is gonna change is you. And you have to actively do that. You're not gonna just change by yourself. And so, okay, let me see what is. This one is for somebody. Because I added this to my notes last minute. But it's heavy on my heart. Stop expecting more out of others and your own kids than you expect out of yourself. Stop it, y'all. I'm guilty of this too, but I know that there are people who they expect so much out of their children. Even toddlers, even elementary age. There are also adults who have adult children and they expect a lot out of their adult children. But they don't even expect those things out of themselves. And they don't even hold themselves to those same standards. And so it's time to stop looking at everyone else's wrongdoing and start looking inward and figuring out, why do I expect so much of my fill in the blank, of my child, of my spouse, of my mother, of my sibling, of my coworker? Why do I expect so much of them, and why am I so let down when they don't fulfill my expectation? Instead of being like, they're so, whatever, they're so irresponsible, they're so whatever, look at yourself and be like, dang, why am I so triggered and bothered by this? Maybe I need to adjust my expectations to match what the reality is of who my child is, who my spouse is, who my mother is, who my coworker is, whoever. You have to really start asking those questions, or you gonna be a real miserable person, baby. I'm just saying. I don't know how people be living out here this miserable all the time. It is really worrisome to me that people don't ever, like, they go their whole life without actually ever trying to grow mentally and spiritually. It's scary to think about. But yeah, that's my podcast for today, y'all. I'm keeping this one short because I don't want to spend too much time recording and editing, and I want to spend some more time with my family before the week starts. But yeah, I hope that this message found you well and that it was a short but sweet one. So my That's What Bree Said quote of the day really goes into what I was talking about with the topic, but there is no progress without work. you have to put in work for your better self. You can't just hope and pray and realize all of the things that you need to work on and then not ever do anything to actually work on them. If you do that, you're never going to actually propel. And I think sometimes self-awareness can be a blessing and a curse, because if you're a really self-aware person, you know all of the things that you need to work on, but it's not always easy to actually put in the steps and put in the work to be better. And when you have that light in you, that if you know, you know, when you have a calling on your life, it's just like, it's a very heavy weight to carry. And it's very hard to sometimes realize that you're stifling your own progress. You're stifling your own success. But baby steps are still moving forward. There's still progress. And growth is not a linear process. Sometimes we will regress. Sometimes we'll make 5-step forwards and 10-step backs. I said that super weird. Sometimes we'll take 5 steps forward and 10 steps back. And that's just what it is. You know, it's life. We can't always get it right. And we are humans, which means we are going to have a human experience and not always be perfect. And that's just what it is. It's nothing to it but to do it. And you got to start making progress a little bit at a time. Just a little bit at a time. Little decisions add up. Little tiny baby decisions throughout the day add up, and recognize those decisions. When you make a goal for yourself and you actually achieve it, like, recognize that and don't just move on, because your progress deserves to be recognized as well. Okay, now let's do the song recommendation. Okay, I don't know where that came from. So the song that I'm recommending today is More Than Enough by Alina Baraz. I freaking love this song, and I forgot about it. It's an older song. I don't even remember what year it came out. It's not super older. It's probably like maybe 2018, 2019. But I love that song, and I just recently put it on my reel. Y'all should follow my personal Instagram, Brianna, BRYONNA _. And I just made a reel recapping our Lorenzo and I's California trip and the How Married Are You conference, and it's so cute. And I put this More Than Enough song to it, and it's just so perfect. So I'm gonna just say the beginning parts of the words because it has me in a chokehold, and it's been stuck in my head, because y'all know when you make a reel or a video or something, how you just be watching it over and over and over. And so the song is stuck in my head, and I keep listening to it, because I'm a firm believer, if a song is stuck in your head, listen to it and sing it. If a song pops in my head, best believe I'm turning it on so I can sing the whole thing. Anyway, the beginning of the song, More Than Enough, goes like this. You've got a way with words. You take away the hurt, and it's a blessing and a curse to feel it all. You've got a way with me. You put me in my place when I'm petty. Ooh. I don't know the rest. I was going off the dome. But you know what? You get the gist. Listen to it yourself if you want to hear more, because Alina Baraz definitely sings it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to this episode. It's a little bit of a shorter one, but I'm glad you stayed to the end, and I hope that you have a great rest of your week or your day or evening, whatever time you listening to this. Yeah, just keep your head up. It's a lot of crazy shit going on out there, and we gotta hold each other down, and we gotta keep trying to be positive even through all the negativity. Don't let a negative person stop you from trying to shine your light. I love you guys, and I will talk to you next week. Bye. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in to the Ambition to Grow podcast. I hope that you're leaving a little more blessed than you were when you started. If you enjoy the show, show your girl some love with a 5-star rating. Also, follow me on Instagram at Ambition to Grow. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day or night, and stay blessed, my love.